couple of my friends said, oh, when we finished came to 20, said, oh, isn't it good, our wages have gone up now? And I went, well, actually, mine haven't. And he went, really? And I went, no, still got the same amount of money, it hasn't gone up at all. So they said to me, well, that's wrong, not Julie, wrong, the blokes, they're saying that's bang out of order, it's wrong, you should go and sort it out, and get it sorted, go and see the union bloke about it. So I went to see the union guy about it, and he said to me, it sounds as though it is wrong, you go and ask the management. He went and asked the management, and they said no, it's classed as a labourer.
At Cammell Laird, she and her 3 male comparators were all in different male-type professions. All 4 of them had actually served apprenticeships, and almost up to the end of their apprenticeship, all 4 of them had been on the same rates of pay. And then the men had been designated craft apprentices, and so they'd gone on to higher rates of pay. And she, of course, was a woman, so it couldn't be craft.
We all had a sense that this was historic in the sense it was the first case, but we were all very much proceeding in the dark. No one really had any clear idea as to how tribunals, far less courts, would deal with the matter. The new legislation was very ambiguous, very unclear.
The point was that her work, of course, was entirely different from that of the men, because she was a cook and they were craftsmen. And the thinking then was that plainly her work couldn't be of equal value to the men's work as craftsmen. The whole idea was ridiculous. So we had to build up a case saying this is not ridiculous at all, and it meant getting Julie to describe what she did hour by hour in the kitchen, what hazards there were, what weight she had to lift up, and comparing that with the work the men did. So, for example, a painter works in far less hazardous conditions than a cook in a big kitchen, and yet the painter was paid far more. Without the union, we wouldn't have been able to do this, because without the union, we wouldn't have been able to get together the craftsmen to give evidence in Julie's support.
Most people actually knew me in the shipyard, so most of the guys actually knew me. If they didn't know me through being a cook there, they actually knew me through being an Evertonian, because I'm really, really strong Evertonian, brought up that way. It's like religion in my family. So they knew that I used to go to football a lot and things like that, and everything, and I knew a lot about football. And at the time I used to have boys' football teams and things, and they'd see me in the paper because we'd won a big, massive Merseyside league. It was the first time a woman manager had won a big, massive Merseyside league, so I was in the papers for that and things. So with this boys' team and a football team that I had. So they knew me for things like that as well. So there's lots of respect, if you like, mutual respect around that, because if you know about football, where I come from, you're mate, aren't you?
At that stage, the argument for Cammell Laird was very simple. You cannot compare, can you, what a woman does in the kitchen with what the men do outside in the shipyard. And the tribunal, to their credit, would have none of that. They said this must go to an independent expert.
There were either photographs or a film clip of Julie Hayward actually at work in the canteen at Cammell Laird. The barrister for the respondents had been a bit sniffy about the demands of cooking cakes, and how that couldn't possibly be as demanding as being a joiner or a welder or whatever. And then these photographs of Julie Hayward carrying these huge industrial trays full of the kind of weighty pies that you feed to shipbuilders at lunchtime, and putting them in an extremely hot oven, were produced in evidence. And it was very clear that this was physically, very, very physically demanding job.
When we got the report of the independent expert, who analysed the competing work under various criteria and said it was equal, well, we were delighted.
The turning point for me was the independent expert said that, my job was of equal value, and this person who didn't know me, didn't know the men in the yard, didn't know anybody, and he came as an independent expert and said, no, it is of equal value, equal pay and things, then that was it, really.
We hoped that would be the end of the process. We hoped that Cammell Laird would then pay up, but they didn't. And that was really only the start of the legal battle. The whole of the employment industry generally was becoming concerned about equal pay for work of equal value, which I think they had regarded up to then as a bit of a joke. But once they realised that it would mean for real women employees like Julie that there would be very positive benefits for her and costs for employers, Cammell Laird started to take it much more seriously.
It was much bigger than just my small job in Cammell Laird. It became escalated to be this big, massive thing that was going to happen. Because of I was involved in the picket line with the guys and things, one point when I was doing the case, Cammell Laird said if I don't go to work, they're going to say that I'm bringing it into dispute. So we had a meeting outside the gates. Again, there's like something like 2,000 guys, you know, because we were all in different gates. And everybody explained that what I was doing, and they all voted, and everybody voted that, you know, I go back in. So this was quite embarrassing actually. One day I think there's about 3,000 or 4,000 of them right outside the gate, and they all moved to one side and just clapped me in. The strength again from like just the guys all being together, you know, calling a union meeting, you'd see 20,000 people in one like square bit of half yard thing, and then a guy getting up and explaining about what was happening about my case, and all these people going yeah, cheering and everything. Then that gave you strength to say, you know, you're not an idiot, you're not a fool, you're not, you know, these things are happening to you is wrong.
The law regrettably remains too complex. It remains too expensive to bring these cases. The cases take too long to be decided. Women are deterred from bringing them. Employers continue to use every possible mechanism to deny women their rights. But there are victories. Julie Hayward's case was one of them, and it was a very important victory.